And welcome to another edition of Odyssey House Journals. I'm joined by veteran newsman Randall Carlisle.
You say that like I used to say it on rock and roll radio.
CKLW.
First in the Motor City with 2020 news.
I grew up with that. And by the way, my name is Trip Mitchell, and Randall and I started this show along with our help from Lee quite a while back. And we had met over at the 12-Step Central office across the street and realized that we felt that we could do a show about addiction, but most importantly about recovery. And we have had, thanks to you, just some amazing guests.
Yeah, we've had some great guests.
And in what we want to do...
Including a cat. I mean,
yeah,
what?
We had Pompous Albert. But what we want to do is show that recovery is available for people from whatever walk of life. We've had people that have been in potentially going to federal prison for 10 to 15 years who are totally straight and sober.
Right.
To people who are high flyers, low flyers, and everyone in between. And the great thing about the recovery community is they do desperately want to help. And to brag on my partner here for a sec, Randall left a great job at Channel 4 and left to go work in the recovery community, and you've been happy ever since.
Working at Odyssey House, yeah. I mean, somebody asked me the other day, obviously the pay isn't as good. They have pretty good benefits, but I sleep so much better at night. I mean, I've never been happier or more relaxed or felt so good about a job. And it's not, because Odyssey is a huge organization and I'm just a small little piece of it. But when you know you're working for an organization that is doing good things and helping lots of people reclaim their lives, it's a good feeling.
And there's a great expression that I heard at a 12-step meeting: if you want to feel good, do good. Yeah. And when you're helping, right now, Odyssey House is the largest treatment program in the state, and you have over 800 people being treated at any given time.
It's getting closer to 1,000 now. And we will have treated, by the end of fiscal 2020, 2020 news, by the end of fiscal 20, we think we will have taken care of 10,000 clients in 1 year.
In 1 year?
In 1 year.
So the population of Utah is roughly 3 million people.
3.2.
Yeah. So think about
just
that.
like the beer used to be. Oh,
yeah.
What am I saying? Go ahead. Yeah.
But it's a situation where it's an amazing number of people. And to get a perspective on, Odyssey House is one of maybe 100 treatment facilities. Hundreds. Yeah. So this is a huge problem, and we are so lucky, thanks to Lee, our producer and director, and the folks over at Channel 17, Comcast 17. But we've had a lot of people listen and a lot of people watch, and hopefully we're maybe something that will click in their head saying, hey, this is something that is pretty tough to do at the beginning. And our guest last week, Chick, was talking about the first time you walked into a room.
Yeah, you should have seen me. I'm glad you didn't see me. I'm glad well, the only people who saw me were the people in that AA meeting. But I mean, I'm sure anybody who is withdrawing from a drug or alcohol will share with you that you feel like crap. You're shaky. There's something wrong in your stomach. You're sweating. It's just a bad feeling. It's not as bad. I mean, you can die from alcohol withdrawal, but from opioid withdrawal, from what I understand, is you feel like you want to die. It's just an awful feeling. So,
yeah, and so there are so many organizations and people out there, and we're going to give you a phone number to call, and this is Odyssey House, and we're not recommending Odyssey House exclusively, but there are people there can help, and they're really smart, and they can give you direction. Sure. And the number is 801.
801?
322.
3222.
I've only been doing how many? 56 shows.
Yeah, you picked it up. We'll say it all at once.
801 322 3222. Wow. Do you think the church is going to call us to maybe have a senior choir that we can join?
I doubt that.
I doubt it too. So we have a news story for this week.
Well, you were talking about treatment available and everything else. And I saw this, and it's very true in Utah too, that only 40% of all the counties in America provide medication-assisted treatment, which is Suboxone, Vivitrol, Methadone for people who are suffering from opioid addictions. And it's true.
That would be the equivalent of a hospital not offering painkillers.
Well, yeah, and the problem, Utah, and think about the fact that we have so many rural areas, and they are totally underserved with treatment centers, with docs to prescribe medication-assisted treatment, even the availability of naloxone, or
which is a life-saving.
yeah, I mean, and so rural areas have significant addiction issue problems, but don't have the same resources that we're lucky enough to have here in metropolitan areas.
And one of the counties, down by Price, and I believe that's Emery County,
Carbon County,
excuse me, they have an amazing addiction problem to opioids.
Yes, and meth.
And yeah, and you would figure hardworking mining community.
Well, so many of them are laid off. I mean, a lot of people are jobless there. And
yeah, it's a horrible situation, and we're lucky to have some really dedicated people who are helping out. But if you are watching and any of the Comcast systems around the state, I would recommend give a call up to Odyssey House, because they've got wonderful people there, and they can recommend you to a treatment program near you, someplace where
absolutely.
you can get some help. And there's no reason you have to stop doing opioids or heroin cold turkey. They're drugs that will help you get through. It's never going to be easy.
No.
But you can get through it and get on the other side.
And we have a guest who is in our program right now and has a lot of firsts in our program, and his name is Dwight. Do you want us to use your last name or not?
Sure.
Dwight Conklin.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Dwight, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. He has a couple of firsts. He's in our parents program, and I took you and Lee through our parents program.
Boy, do you remember? That seemed like it was yesterday, and that was almost 60 shows ago.
And he's here. He's in the parents program. And for those of you who don't know, it's moms and dads with kids who have been separated probably because of drug issues or legal problems from their kids, and it's a reunification process where they live with their kids in the house. And describe a day, a typical day. And you guys are busy from sun up to sundown.
Sure. We get going first thing in the morning.
What time?
Well, we get up about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
We need to get... So we have a
By the way, Randall, you can see the trepidation when you
I don't want to go there.
6 o'clock, a little early.
Yeah.
So we have a mom's house, we have a dad's house.
Yeah.
We're probably a 5-minute drive from each other. So we only have 5 dads in our house, and I think 16 to 20
16 moms,
16
and
moms?
20 some kids.
and a lot of kids. So it's a little bit different. But getting up in the morning, getting our day going with our kids, and then getting on the bus, on our bus, driving over to the women's, and then all day we spend doing groups, and we do in with kids, and it's all about parents and the kids.
And you take your kids, while you guys are working on your issues, you take your kids down to a place that we call Child Services.
It's called CS. Yep, that's right. It's like a daycare for all our kids, so we can go back to the women's house and talk about our issues and our groups, and we have parenting groups, and we have all kinds of good things going on there. So it's a long day, but it's a fun day. We get a lot done, and then at the end of the night, 5 o'clock, back on the bus and go back to the dad's house.
And then you cook dinner for your kids.
Cook dinner for the kids. We have a little family time. We get the kids down. We have our night meetings, and then we call it a night. And by then I'm exhausted.
Tired, right?
Yeah.
And the whole point of a program like this is to keep families together. Mm-hmm. And quite frequently, as in your case, which you're going to share in a moment, you screwed up with drugs and crime and everything else, and you weren't really fit to be a father.
No,
that's true. But now that you're in the program and you're dealing with your daughter, who's how old now?
She will be 9 months old tomorrow.
Right. And you're learning how to be a good father and how to lead a sober life and a crime-free life. It's much better to have your daughter with you than in foster care or in the system.
Absolutely.
So what did you do to lose custody of your daughter?
So when my daughter was born back in May last year, her mom and I were right in the middle of using and living that criminal drug lifestyle, and DCFS stepped in and seen what was going on and didn't want that anymore.
Go figure.
For my child, and it's obvious. That's what they do. So they took our daughter. I ended up going and violating my parole and went back to prison. And my daughter's mom, she was out there doing her thing, so it didn't look good. You know, the more time that I spent away from my daughter and the more time that she spent away from our daughter, it was more likely she was going to get adopted out. But while I was in prison, in the parole violator program, I was given an opportunity by Odyssey House. They came and talked to me and asked me if I'd be interested in coming to a parents program. And I've never heard of anything before, ever. I've heard of Odyssey House, but I've always knocked it. You know, that's for other people, not me. But when given the opportunity...
That's for people with a real problem.
Yeah,
Because you're sitting in prison.
Yeah, exactly. So when given an opportunity to come to try out the parents program, I went through an interview process. In about a 3-week wait, a bed opened up. And once I agreed to it, that's when the process started for the reunification for me to get my daughter back. And as a result of that, starting, let's say, 3.5 months now, I have full custody of my daughter. I did get reunification with her. She is with me in a transition stage right now, 4 days a week, from Sunday to Wednesday. And if all goes well, which I'm pretty confident that it will go well, within about 3 or 4 weeks, she'll be with me in my care full time.
Wow. That is fantastic.
Cool.
And that's a short turnaround.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And it says a lot for a couple different groups. The Department of Prisons, the fact that they are willing to let you out to go to Odyssey House. When maybe in the old days we say, no, he's going to serve his time like everyone else. And so they're looking at it from a holistic point of view, that they want you to have some motivation and have someone to live for.
And they have one of the directors. So leaving the prison, I went into a halfway house called Fortitude. And at Fortitude, we have a couple directors from Odyssey who do the screening process for the regular adult house or the parents program. And I was the very first dad to leave the men's facility Fortitude to go to Odyssey House Parents program. So in the history of Fortitude, I made some kind of...
They've seen something in you.
And he's the first, I don't know whether it's dad only or maybe mom too, but he's the first person to come from a halfway house directly to the parents program. Mm-hmm. And it's working out very well. So that's his first. Okay.
And he's got some other firsts?
Yes. Do you want to share that after a break, or you want to talk about it now?
Let's take a short break, and when we get back, we'll hear more about you're a pioneer in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And then we do have to ask you about that horribly ugly tattoo on you. That's the New York Yankees.
That is the New York Yankees.
Oh my gosh. Could you do a better job of screening?
I could do a Boston Red Sox thing on up there.
Okay, then you'd have to chop the arm off. We'll be back after the short break. You're watching Odyssey House Journals. And welcome back. Trip Mitchell, Randall Carlisle, sitting here and learning about an amazing part of Odyssey House. And our guest was just explaining that...
Our guest is Dwight Conklin.
That's an important part.
Yes.
Don't leave that out.
No.
And Dwight, you were talking about one of the first, which is the ability went to a halfway house, out of jail, transition.
Out of prison.
So
a prison halfway house, then into our program.
Just to keep in mind, we call it the bad place.
The bad
Odyssey House. So that's something I got to get used to.
The bad place.
What, prison? Called the bad place.
Any type of incarceration is the bad place.
By the way, Dwight, what would you say, having been in prison, what would you say the percentage of the people there are there because of drugs and alcohol?
I would say over 80%.
And that's a number we get every time.
Yeah.
That is a shocking number.
That's just my time there since 2008 to 2019. In and out, in and out, in and out. Parole after termination after parole. And being around everybody I've been around in there, at least 9 out of 10.
That is amazing. 80%. And come on in, the student.
And think about this. Average across America is $100,000 a year to care for an inmate in our penal system.
100,000 a year.
100,000 a year, and that's our tax dollars.
And 80% of those people are there because of drugs and alcohol.
And then you take a program like he's in right now, and it's nowhere near 100,000 a year to take care of it, and it's not tax dollars.
And the other thing is you've now been combined with your daughter, so you're in a situation where you're going to make her an amazing girl. The qualities that have taken you to get out of problems and to fight hard for her, I think would bode well in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you learn? Because part of what we do in the program is we work with people how to be better moms and dads. What did you learn that you were lacking before that you can do now that you think you've improved upon?
By the way, that was a very good question.
Everything that I'm learning now.
That was a very good answer too.
Everything I'm learning now, I didn't know before.
Really?
Or maybe if I knew it before, I just never applied it. I felt that, the life that I was living was because of me, and only for me, not for my children and not for my daughter, and, very selfish. I learned to put her first. And that was it was hard because I didn't know how to, but now that I'm learning that, being a better dad, being a better person, following rules,
Yes.
following rules in there, but that will apply in the
Sure.
outside world. Giving her a better life, giving her, everything that she needs to be successful or to be a good kid or whatever.
What are you going to tell her down the road? I mean, she's only 9 months right now, so she won't remember any of the crap she's gone through, right? Hopefully.
Yeah.
What are you going to tell her down the road when she does begin to remember about your past life?
Well, there's one thing I definitely will do. I will tell her the truth about all of it. And then, according, depending on how old she is or when she starts asking, that's when I'll let her know a little bit at a time.
Yeah, not just, hey, let's sit down.
Yeah,
Let me tell you about Daddy being a bad boy.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is to teach her what not to do, but don't hold anything back. Give her, all the information of what I've been through.
How's your ex-wife or your wife doing now?
So this would be we're not married.
Okay.
She's doing absolutely phenomenal.
Fantastic. I wasn't sure which way you're going to go.
Right now, and I know this now, it was just rumor, but I know that she has got her life together. She is now in another rehab facility in West Jordan called Epic, and she's doing amazing. And my daughter is able to visit with her every Saturday for 2 hours, and then of course it'll increase from there according to her progression, and same with me. So I think it's going to work out as long as we both stay on track and
That's the key.
keep my daughter in mind first.
Yeah.
I think she'll be okay. I'll be okay.
And we were mentioning before we went to break that you have a couple of firsts. You want to share what they are? First, he's an old man.
Yeah. So I will be 49 years old in May,
Oh my gosh.
and my daughter is only 9 months tomorrow.
Okay.
So I believe I'm the oldest dad with the youngest child in history of Odyssey.
In Odyssey's Parents program.
The Odyssey Parents
That's
program.
fantastic.
I think.
So
I'm pretty
he's
sure
also
because
the
no
fir-
one has argued it yet. So I'm pretty
He's
sure.
also the first out of a halfway house that he came to after prison. So there's a lot of firsts. Don't want to put any pressure on you, but
No,
there's a
you're
lot
good.
riding on you to be successful.
Yeah.
And then there was one other first you mentioned about our program. We're the only Dads with Kids program west of the Mississippi.
So we have 5 dads in our house, and each one of them have their children with them. And so I look at it as I don't even know how many people in rehab from the west of the Mississippi, but there's only 5 dads
Isn't that
in
incredible?
a dad's program.
And the normal way society looks at a man and a woman who have a kid is you want to keep that child with the woman at all costs. But in some cases it doesn't work, and hats off to Odyssey to recognize that.
There are a lot of single dads out there. You just don't hear about them. I mean, not nearly as many as there are single moms.
Sure.
But there are single dads out there, and there's single dads with addiction issues that need to be dealt with. And for some reason, I mean, we only have room for, it's 5 dads. It's full, right? 6 maybe?
Yeah, I believe we're getting another one in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Now since I've been here, 3 months now, the waiting list is increasing. A lot more dads are waiting to come now. So once they're catching wind of this, and once
Right.
it's getting out there, now dads are interested in.
And Odyssey House is so adaptive in that they see a need, and the people you work with there figure out how to do it. It's
Right.
obviously money, it's grants, it's real estate. There's a lot to adding extra beds.
Expanding any program, first of all, you got a real estate and a building, and the hardest part, it's easy to find clients to fill up the beds. The hardest part for all treatment programs right now is finding therapists. There just aren't enough social workers coming out of college who want to work in the addiction treatment field.
But yet, the counselors that we've met through this TV show, virtually all of them have had addiction issues themselves, have gone to a place like Odyssey House or 12-step program, cleaned up, gotten more education, and are the most effective counselors you'd ever want to meet. So sadly, that's not a great way to, we don't need more addicts to get more counselors. That's-
Become an addict, then go to school, and then...
We'd love to have you not have to go
But,
through that.
I mean, from your point of view, because most of the, I'm trying to think of the people, not all of the people who are therapists in your program are in recovery. But if you had to sit down with somebody who was, say, my age and had a PhD and doesn't know crap about what it's like to be an addict or an alcoholic, or somebody who didn't have the schooling I have but has been there and is in recovery, who would you believe more?
Absolutely, the person that's been in my shoes. I'm a firm believer of that. It's like someone that's been there, someone that's done that. We have some part-time staff that are in recovery as well,
Right.
that are graduates of Odyssey House, and then sometime down the road they picked up, employment working for Odyssey now. But yeah, I have the best connection with those type of people.
Which is why, and we call ourselves a therapeutic community, and that's basically why it works.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go through gradual levels in the Odyssey program, and the higher up you are, the more input you have over how the house is run.
It's true.
And the people who are just coming in look up to a person like you because you've been there for 3 months and you've gotten to a higher level more than if it was an outsider who didn't know anything about anything.
And in your experience, so you were in and out of prison a lot over a 10-year period. Did you feel that a lot of the people in there who had drug and alcohol problems would like to get clean and sober, or were they happy where they're at?
I was probably one of those people who, as soon as I walked through the gates or the doors of the prison, it's automatic that you want to get help. It's automatic that you want to get clean. But the real ones that really want to get clean, you can tell. You can tell the difference. So it takes maybe that long, 10 years, to want the help. And I've been saying it ever since I started going. But I think this is the real time right now. This was the real, because of my daughter and because of where my life was going. It was going absolutely nowhere except back to prison every time.
So if you were in charge of the Utah prison system, what would you do? And you didn't have to worry about money.
Wow.
What would I do?
Yeah, to help these people.
Oh, I would definitely turn up the treatment. It would, instead of being incarcerated or storing people or warehouse, whatever, that's what we used to call it. And I would definitely increase the treatment for sure.
Are there enough treatment options for people in prison right now?
There are. I mean, we do AA, we do NA. They have a couple programs. I'm a graduate of one of the programs, actually. In 2009, I graduated a drug and alcohol program. And so, but they have it, and they give everybody a shot at it.
Okay, so they do. So
Yeah.
there are opportunities.
Yeah, there is opportunities, but I think more would be better.
Because, you know, just the fact that Odyssey House was down there to let you know about a father's program is amazing.
I was blown away when I got that interview. I was like, what is this? Or, you know, I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
Odyssey, I don't want to go to Odyssey.
But yeah, when I found out more about it, within a couple of weeks, I was ready to go.
That's fantastic.
It was life-changing for sure. Absolutely life-changing.
And, you know, we talk to people who are in recovery, including Randall and myself, and at some point, a switch goes off in your mind where you're done.
It is. It is.
And that is one of the great days in someone recovering.
Wish we could figure out what it is that makes the switch go off in each person.
Boy, if we could.
You
Nobel
know,
Prize.
you just, you know, you come in and I'll help you flip the switch. Okay, you're you know, that kind of thing.
And it's so frustrating to friends and family of people in addiction because they want it for them so bad, and the people want it.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
in my case, I wanted to stop drinking, but there wasn't a point where I was willing to give up enough to do it until that moment.
Well, and there's also one other thing I want to add.
Okay.
This is a life-changing thing for me as well, but I'm also on Vivitrol.
That's good because
So you guys mentioned that before about the
Right.
Suboxone and the methadone. I've been down that road, but the Vivitrol shot saved my life because it is amazing.
Why don't you explain to our viewers what it does for you?
So a Vivitrol shot it's like a time release shot that they inject in you, and it's an opiate blocker. But it doesn't just help with the opiate blockage. It also helps with like mental as well. It helped me with not craving it mentally, not craving it physically, and also along with some other things like smoking cigarettes. It helped with that too. But
it helps with alcohol too.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with being an alcoholic because I don't drink, but
I just do drugs. I
just do drugs.
But it's the same blocker up in your brain.
Absolutely,
so.
it works just as well in the brain. But I've never heard of it until just before I came to Odyssey, and then they offered it to me, and then after just a few weeks after the first shot, I was hooked on Vivitrol.
Well, the thing is, you can't get hooked on Vivitrol.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool about it, because the other two things, methadone and Suboxone, are opioids.
Sure.
Just controlled doses. But Vivitrol is non-opioid, and it does those wonderful things in your brain. And we recommend it highly, but a lot of people refuse to do it for whatever reason.
I recommend that if you are a recovering opioid or heroin addict and you want to get help and you want to kick it, Vivitrol for sure.
The downside is $1,300 a shot for a monthly shot.
Unless you come to Odyssey.
But if you come to Odyssey, it's free.
Yes, it is.
Okay, wait, $1,300 times 12, so that's at least $1,308 a year, and you come to Odyssey
At
House.
least.
Yeah.
No,
And-
and if you don't have the finances, I'm sure you can find a way to get it. You can go to our Martindale clinic and get it, even if you're not part of the program. But it's just a wonderful. It's a wonderful drug
is.
that
It works
not
amazing.
enough
It's
people want to
amazing.
use.
Yeah.
So
Well, Dwight, thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you so
in.
much.
we got to
Thank
do
you.
our freebie plug.
Okay, that's right. Let's do it.
Because I'm not going to be doing that on our Facebook anymore. So you can watch this program on YouTube. Just Google Odyssey House Journals, and you can also listen to it on Spotify and iTunes. Just Google the same thing, and you can also see it on Comcast Channel 17. And the full thing is available on Facebook, which is where most people will view it.
That's
So-
fantastic. So, for everyone involved, we want to thank Lee. He's a great friend who produces this and shoots it. Great guy. We want to thank Bill Francis at Channel 17 for putting it on the air. For Randall and myself.
And for Dwight bearing his soul and sharing his story. Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Hopefully
it.
you'll help other people.
Thank
I'm
you
sure he
very
will.
much. Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.